denominations.
Here's the thing for me is procedural generation, right? The dust on a butterfly's leaves or leaves on a butterfly's wings is so unique and tiny, and there's millions of it, and they all look different, right? Can we actually generate that with computers? I mean, I've seen some impressive things, right, with the animation and stuff. I mean, just outstanding. I mean, we were just watching on the Love, Death, and Robots show on Netflix. Outstanding, right?
And it's all indies.
Yeah,
indie groups,
right? I mean, just the way dust looks, on clothes, and the clothes have fibers, right? Even nowadays, they animate Mario with like little mustache hair and pores. Why does he have pores? I don't like it, right?
It's just a simple little texture overlay.
I think some of the best animation I've seen that I can recall in terms of like trying to animate somebody that's human that actually was realistic, was the Assassin's Creed Revelations trailer.
You think that's the best?
Yeah, it was.
I think that's the best I've seen.
It was good.
They literally, I mean, it was
flirting with like Avatar.
Yeah. It was in the small details, and people were like, "That's that's not animation. They got actors to do that." I'm like, "No, they animated all of this," and it was in such small detail. Like, I mean, there's even a shot where it's kind of showing you like the villain's face or whatever, and as it's panning around, you can see each individual hair on his face, like from where he just shaved that morning, and it's already growing back. You can see how the light casts above each little wrinkle in his face. I mean, it's stuff like that. Such detail. It's like you would think it was a real person,
And that's even better than freaking Justice League.
Yeah.
Because they would have, what's his face? The cyborg guy. What's his name?
Cyborg Victor?
No, I guess they just call him Cyborg.
Cyborg, yeah.
Well, Cyborg, most of his scenes are literally the face that's supposed to be real is animated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. So he entirely, he's entirely animated.
Yeah, and I mean you'd see scenes where Batman is completely animated, like jumping off something, right? And then you'd see another scene where he's human, right? But that was never the case with Cyborg. But then it would go from Cyborg, and you would see Steppenwolf, who looks so cool.
I think
we looked at the. Go ahead, Joshua. Sorry.
I think our problem is
our problem.
Your problem.
My problem.
You guys' problem. I'm not involved in this because I've been not bringing it up. Is you're looking exclusively as Justice League. I think we should just take Justice League out of the picture.
No, we're not, because
Justice League is a hot topic.
No, it's too big.
But it's one film, and we don't know what happened behind the scenes with the animators, between the animators and the director and their vision and how they saw the movie.
Here.
I think that could involve...
Hold on.
I'll tell you what. They spent more money on the scene with Jason Momoa in the water looking sexy than they did on Cyborg's entire character.
Let me break this down for you guys. Nowadays, it came out in 2017, 2018. Yeah. It shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? We had Avatar in 2009.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Every CG everything nowadays should look great.
Immaculate.
Why is it that nobody's complaining about Marvel stuff?
Right.
Marvel uses a crap ton of CG, right? Sometimes there are bad moments and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
But it is not every
Captain
scene.
Marvel was that way.
Yeah,
I mean, like
Spider-Man
Spider-Man for the most part throughout the MCU was like entirely CG, and it looks. I mean, you didn't really notice it.
All the
it
fighting
looks good.
scenes.
Yeah,
it looks good.
It looks good. Like
Iron Man looks good.
Yeah.
Hulk looks good. At no point, right, when you look at the Vision, are you like, yeah, he definitely looks like a robot.
The Vision? Is that what he's... I
the
thought
Vision.
It's Vision or the Vision.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he's you don't look at him and think, yeah, he's definitely animated like Cyborg, right? So that's the point. And
in that last episode of WandaVision, it was Double Vision.
Yeah.
What's that? Do you know the character's name? What's the actor?
Paul
Bettany.
Paul. I guess.
For who?
Red
Bettany.
Vision.
Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany. I gotta give him props. He's an old dude.
He's
fit,
50,
but he's not like huge like the other superheroes.
Yeah.
Do you think
He's, like,
Paul
decent
Bettany,
size.
when he first came on to do the voice of Jarvis, do you think he knew that like 10 years down the road he'd be going to a makeup
Probably.
trailer in the
Yes.
morning?
Probably.
I don't know.
It's like, because people have been joking about that. They're like, I bet Paul Bettany was like, oh yeah, a little voice acting role, like this will be easy, a good bit of money. And it's like 10 years later, he's showing up to the makeup trailer to
I
spend
don't
hours.
Think so.
I think he
so.
knew. I think they
he
had
knew.
to tell him the vision, like, no pun intended. They had to tell him the whole scope of things before, like, he can't signed on.
I do like his last line though in the show, where he references how he was a voice, right, with no body, and then he was a body with, but not a body but not human.
Yeah.
And then he was a memory, right?
Something like that. I can't remember.
Hold
how
on.
it went.
Did he start back on Iron Man? Because he was on
Jarvis.
Iron.
He was
I know
Jarvis,
he was
yeah.
Jarvis, but I'm saying like they didn't change actors for Jarvis.
No,
I know.
It was the same the whole
Yeah.
time. So yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe he had no idea, because if it came in later, you'd be like, oh, it would make sense. The
Yeah.
Marvel train
I guess
is rolling.
because they didn't really know how far they were going
Now-
to go with Marvel.
now,
But when
Feige-
first Iron Man came
Yeah.
out, not at all.
Feige had a plan.
Yeah,
Right?
of course.
Now, whether everybody knew Feige's plan,
Yeah.
but by the time first Avengers came out, Feige was like,
Oh yeah.
he's like Jarvis.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, he's gonna be Vision.
Yeah.
He's like, I am already setting up for the second. For the second movie, and Jarvis is gonna be Vision.
It's honestly, I mean, that kind of segues pretty well with the whole idea of DC and everything, and them trying to kind of revamp everything, because they see what Marvel's doing.
Yeah.
And they're trying.
No, they
they're
see the
trying to-
money Marvel makes.
They see the money Marvel makes.
It's
They're
the
trying to cash in on it, but DC just, aside from the Christopher Nolan Batman series, DC just does not translate as well onto the silver screen. I don't know why they can't make it work. I don't know if it's because they seem like they have the potential to do really well. I just don't know if it's the studio, like Warner Brothers. I think they're the ones probably getting in the way.
It is Warner Brothers.
Like, I really think that's what it is. And I think it comes down to this. Like, this is kind of what I was going to talk about. I was going to mention this earlier. You ever been, like, whether it's for work or something else, you ever had to deal with, like, there's an older guy or older person who's kind of, like, doing something, and you're like, why are you doing it that way? I deal with this all the time at work. And I mean, I don't try to act like I know everything. I really don't. And I have a lot to learn. But sometimes you question, like, what an older person does. And you kind of start to think, you're like, well, maybe they just got something up their sleeve that nobody else knows about. And so nobody really, like, questions them. They just kind of let them do their thing because, they're older. It's like they're more experienced. And in the end, you realize what they were doing actually still made no sense, and they're just kind of like, you still don't understand why they did what they did, and all they did was make things worse.
I think they got
what's-
into this pattern because of something in the past
Yeah.
and have just never changed.
I think that's what's happening, like with
Yeah.
Warner Brothers. I think you got some older people who are making these decisions, and everybody, like the directors and everybody under is trying to tell them, like, that's not going to work. Like with this CG thing, like animating all of Cyborg, never having a human element to them. But there's somebody at Warner Bros. That's like, nah, you got to do it this way. And then in the end, they're like, why did this fail? It's like, why'd you choose that? I think that's what's happening with Warner Brothers.
Inexperience.
Yeah.
Inexperience in modern technology, essentially.
Yes.
Okay, I like that you say inexperience in modern technology, because I think the reason why we're failing is because people with experience, but past experience. This is a very touchy subject, because I think there is a lot we can learn from an older generation, get that patina, as I like to say a lot, from an older generation. And as we're early 20s, all of us here, except for this old dude over here,
Grandpa Joe.
Grandpa Joe.
My name is Grandpa Joe, and I am very old.
We have a lot we can learn from an older generation.
Yeah.
Our grandparents, or even parents.
All right, stop skirting the issue.
Now, we always brush our parents off.
Stop skirting the issue.
Spit
You
it
saying
out,
we
bro.
shouldn't listen to them,
No.
and we should build our own world.
We should
Let's
listen-
throw down the previous hierarchy.
Yes.
And we build a new
matriarchy.
It's time for a mass euthanization.
In a sense. I think there's a lot
Josh
we can learn from
he
him.
actually kind of agreed.
It's time to pull the plug.
No, in a sense. But no, how many... This happens on a day-to-day basis, and I'm not trying to say this person doesn't have anything that they can offer me in knowledge and I can learn from them. But listen, how many people on a day-to-day do I express the thought to them, and they say... Well, that's not going to happen in our generation. Maybe in like a couple generations past us. And I'm like, why are we in this mindset of if it's not my generation, I shouldn't go for it. I shouldn't try to make it in my generation. How many people say that?
That's literally like what's brought our generation to the point it is because the generations before us were like, well,
yeah. So we need to set up
Pause.
the generation behind us or
Pause.
what? Something. Pause.
Game off. Game off. Car. Game off.
I mean, you brought up earlier about Warner Brothers, and I chuckled to myself because all I saw was, the scene of Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Yeah.
Where she's like, we made Warner Brothers millions of dollars, and it's two twin brothers. They're like,
two Warner Brothers.
Not a billion. Not a billion.
It's not a billion.
Not a billion.
If you haven't seen freaking Looney Tunes Back in Action, that was like the last good Brendan Fraser movie. Howdy. We're glad you watched this clip. If you are interested in seeing the full podcast episode, you can join us on Wiseworks Podcast. You can leave us a like, you can comment on our videos, and you can subscribe there so you'll be notified when we upload. Thank you for watching this clip. We greatly, greatly appreciate you.